pretty much another collective of group of alumni-based people. It's a nonprofit that will try to get, other stuff like stuff. Already can't fucking. What's going on, dudes and dudettes? So a new NIL collective for USC football, or pretty much USC athletics, pretty much has started, called the House of Victory NIL collective, whatever they want to call themselves. But it's pretty much the same thing where they're going to try to get sponsorships and these players money, but the correct way, not just trying to find a donor to pay this one player or something millions of dollars to try to get them to go to the school. So it's a nice thing. They'll probably get some like food endorsements, car dealerships, stuff like that. But everything's going to be also alumni based. So obviously there's a lot of good alumni that go to USC, so they will be able to benefit, I think, pretty handsomely. I know they try to do this here and there, but this is more of like a collection of that, but now it's more officially working with the school, which is what the other stuff like Boulevard, other the primary NIL collectives did not do. So this is probably going to stay for a while, be a good partnership, and hoping for the best for all these guys who definitely deserve it, because they're definitely putting their bodies on the line. And if they get hurt while they're in college, it's not like they're going to get paid to, get drafted high, be able to get paid well in the NFL or NBA, wherever they're going, these players that are going to be playing. So either way, I think it's a good thing overall. So let's get into it. Courtland Ford, and now ex-USC offensive lineman, has entered the transfer portal the other day, or is still intending to, because I think Saturday is when it opens up. Saturday or Sunday, when the new transfer portal window opens up for a couple weeks. So he will be leaving most likely. It kind of does suck because he was looking to maybe start or definitely be one of the first backups. But I guess he saw that a lot of the guys that came in, the older guys that transferred in the spring, were probably a little bit better. So he is moving on. No ill will or bad feelings towards him. Good luck to him in his career. He's definitely probably going to be a pretty good player for any team he goes to next. So good luck to him. And yeah, we'll see what happens with USC, because that means another guy is leaving, so they could bring in another guy or two on a roster spot. So you never know. So we'll see. And it looks like the Anaheim Ducks are not bringing back their head coach, Dallas Aikens. Apparently, I think he had signed a 4-year deal. It's been a while since I remember when he signed, but yeah, he's been there for quite a bit. They've always had a losing season, even though they picked very high in the draft. It seemed like every single year after he was hired, because they sucked, but haven't been able to put everything together. And I know they even lost their last game at home last night as well to the Kings. But overall, just hoping they find a more talented coach out there, because I know this guy, he was in the system for a bit. He was coaching with like their developmental league down there in San Diego, and he's been with the Ducks organization for like 8 total years. But I guess they kind of figured that they wouldn't be bringing him back because they had not seen too much success on the ice. So hoping for a nice, good, positive coach to come in. Whether they need to go older or not, you don't know, but hoping for the best for the Anaheim Ducks. And yes, apparently there's a report going around that the Lakers plan to pick up Jared Vanderbilt's option, whatever it is. I think it's like around $4.7 million for next season. Pretty obvious that he would be the one guy to get it, as of any of the new guys that were traded to the Lakers during the trade deadline, because he has been pretty much their Swiss Army knife. He's almost like, I like to refer him to Trevor Ariza, a little bit stockier, thicker Trevor Ariza, but does not shoot as good as Ariza did when he was on the Lakers. But still a very valuable type of player who can last in the league for a while, and definitely one of the younger, brighter spots on the team. So as long as he's cool with that, because I know he probably would end up getting a bigger contract somewhere else if he just went into free agency. But I'm hoping that this is enough to keep him around for a bit at least, and they could work on a deal within the next year or two. And then when it came to Kyle Filipowski and Christian Reeves, 2 big men for the Duke basketball team, apparently they recently had some off-season surgery. Filipowski ended up having some type of procedure on both of his hips, so he got that cleared up and should be ready to go within a month or so. I'm pretty sure pretty soon. And then Christian Reeves, the center, the other freshman, had surgery on a left ankle, I believe it was. So as long as they are getting it done now, they should be ready to go by the time the fall comes. And when is it, like October? Definitely when they start playing again. So yeah, they should be ready to go. But luckily, able to find the problems now instead of waiting until later. And then USC baseball the other day ended up beating Cal State Fullerton, which is, well, I always thought they were one of the better, college baseball teams out here, especially in SoCal. But USC was able to beat them. They're still ranked in the top 25, which is what I saw, and still continue to win. So we'll see what they can do, and pretty sure they're going to get other better players on this team at some point in the near future. But as of right now, this team is looking to hopefully get into that playoff, or whatever they call it, the World Series or something. I don't know what college baseball calls it. And a couple of Lakers players were leading the NBA in certain categories at the end of the season. So Anthony Davis led the league in rebounding. I think he averaged like over 12 a game. And also in second chance points, which he was averaging like over 5 a game as well. Because he did have a couple nice stretches, even without LeBron James in there, where he was just on fire. Hopefully he can continue that fire this Sunday against Memphis in the playoffs. But we will see. And then Austin Reeves also led the NBA in layup percentage. I didn't know they kept that stat, but I guess that's pretty cool. He was like at 72+%, so that's obviously a good thing because he's making most of his attempts near the basket, even though he's not the biggest dude out there. So that's pretty cool. Congrats to those guys. And then when it comes to Reese Dixon-Waters, an ex-USC basketball player, he is officially transferring to pretty much more southern California in SDSU, who had a really nice run to the March Madness tournament final. Yeah, they did lose to UConn in the final, which sucked, but maybe a lot of those guys are coming back and adding a guy like Dixon-Waters, who was the sixth man of the Pac-12 and for USC. So they're definitely adding a lot of talent down there. Sucks. Wish he would have stayed at USC, but good luck to him either way. Then a couple more meetings that the Chargers had recently. They met with TCU running back Kendre Miller, who was really good throughout the season for TCU when they went all the way to the final, but he did get hurt in that game prior to the final and wasn't able to play, I don't believe. But I think he is a local kid as well, so they always like to look at the local talent to check him out either way. Then they also looked at a Purdue cornerback in Reese Taylor, who I've never personally heard of, but definitely gonna check him out. But then because the NFL draft is starting pretty soon, so I gotta check out a lot of these guys, because like I always say, once the second and third round kind of go by, then the Chargers start drafting players that I've never even heard of or knew the school or anything like that. So definitely got to do my homework to see who they will be looking at in the near future. And then yes, apparently there was a stat out there that this is the first time in the NBA playoffs that LeBron is a betting underdog, which I guess he's never been that, even though I think a few years back, the year after the bubble year, when they were the 7th seed again, having to play Phoenix, I believe. So I'm assuming even though the Lakers were a 7th seed, they were still favored to win that series, which they almost did. They kind of had a chance, but yeah, they just let it go, of course. And of course, Phoenix Suns ended up going to the finals and losing to the Bucks. But yeah, either way, that was a weird stat that I saw. And then when it comes to the playoffs, yes, I mentioned that they do start for the Lakers in Memphis against the Grizzlies on Sunday. I believe that's around 12 p.m. local time, so be able to watch that on ABC, getting the spotlight for them on that Sunday afternoon game or noon game. And then I think it's like every 3 days, so they won't play again until Wednesday. It's still in Memphis, and then when they play, I think it's Saturday, they'll play in LA for the first time, and yeah, so on and so forth. And I think after the fourth game, then it's like every 2 days. So yeah, I don't know why the NBA likes to push these first couple of rounds for so long, and then they make them start playing like every other day. It's like you should be making them play every other day later, but I know that happens in the finals too, which is kind of weird. But I understand it more for the finals than in the first round of the playoffs. Then yes, good luck to both of my ex-Duke and USC players. Obviously, Grayson Allen's on the bench for the Milwaukee Bucks, who have a chance to win. DeAnthony Melton, an ex-USC player playing for Philadelphia, is also out there. I know Chicago Bulls have DeMar DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic, who won their first playoff game, their play-in game. So now they have tonight to be able to officially get into that 8th spot in the playoffs. So good luck to those guys. Yeah, Jason Tatum, obviously, with the Celtics, everybody. Sadly, I know a couple guys were knocked out when they're on the Pelicans, like Brandon Ingram, all them, Zion. They lost the other day, but either way, a lot of guys still out there, so good luck to all of them. We'll see how it goes. Then when it comes to a couple of bit of miscellaneous news, Mike Shinoda was recently asked, he's been interviewed recently because they released that 20-year anniversary of Meteora, but he was asked if they would ever do a hologram world tour with Chester Bennington as the hologram, which I never understood. Like, I think they can still go on tour, because a lot of the music they released still had Chester Bennington singing, and obviously it's from him singing in the early 2000s, but if you're still missing a person, why wouldn't you just have the vocals up there while you're playing live? And I still think that could still work out, because they kind of maybe did that. They kind of let the crowd play when it came to singing when they had that memorial thing concert for him right after he had passed. But I know if you just had his vocals tracking in the background, it'd still be good enough, but maybe it's still just too hard of a thing for them to go through and have to deal with. But yeah, Chester hologram, that doesn't make sense. I know they did that with Tupac and a couple other people. It's kind of weird, but yeah, on a world tour, I don't think that would really work out. Then another pretty big tour happening, Sum 41, band I've loved since the early 2000s, if not earlier. Simple Plan as well, very popular punk, alternative rock from the early 2000s, and The Offspring, who are actually even longer before those guys. They did, I believe it was a Canada tour or a European tour altogether, and now they're finally bringing it to North America, and I believe they're playing August 6th in Irvine, which is pretty cool. I've never been to a concert out there, so maybe, hopefully in the future, I will be able to go to that. Definitely looking, because I have not seen any of those three in concert, and I like all three of those, especially two more than one, but either way, still like to go, be able to knock out those concert bucket lists off my list. And speaking of another big time collective of people going out in concert, to end this video, we have, I think it's the All American Rejects are officially headlining tour, which is a band I've liked since the early 2000s, but also Newfound Glory, who you've heard me talk about. So I've been to a couple of their concerts since doing these videos, and they're going to be on that tour along with the Starting Line, who were really good back then in the early 2000s, along with Motion City Soundtrack, who are a bit like crazier, but it's still really good alternative kind of punk rock music. And I think some other band called the Get Up Kids, who I've heard of, but I don't think I've really ever listened to much of their music. But either way, I think that one might be happening in September too, so I have to try to get to some of these concerts. I know actually Blink-182 is playing tonight for the first time, officially reunited in Coachella, which is happening this weekend. So I think that's around 6:45 p.m. So I think there's like a live stream on YouTube. Everybody will be able to see, but that's the first time since Tom DeLonge officially returned, and they'll be playing live in front of everybody. So hopefully it's a good show. I think they're playing about an hour, so we'll see if they add any new songs. I know they'll probably just play their one new song, Edging, but we will see. Thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye. Fight on.